Victoria swept into her office minutes later, looking as polished and perfect as before. But this time, Maya noticed the calculation in her eyes, the brittleness behind the beauty. Working late, Victoria observed. How dedicated. Daniel does appreciate dedication in his employees. What do you want, Victoria? Maya asked tiredly. I'm busy. I came to offer you a deal, Victoria said, settling into the chair across from Maya's desk uninvited. I'll give you 5 million naira to walk away from Daniel. Maya stared at her, genuinely shocked. You're offering me money to break up with him? Think of it as compensation for your time, Victoria said smoothly. You've had your fun, made your point. Now it's time to return to reality. Daniel and I are meant to be together. Our families have business ties going back decades. Our marriage would create a tech empire that would dominate not just Nigeria, but all of West Africa. You're a distraction. A temporary amusement. He'll tire of you eventually, so why not profit from it now while you can? Something clicked in Maya's mind. The pieces falling into place. You're afraid, she said slowly. Victoria's smile faltered. Excuse me? You're afraid that he won't get tired of me. That's why you're here, isn't it? Because for the first time in all your years of on again, off again, Daniel is actually serious about someone other than you. And it terrifies you. Don't be ridiculous, Victoria snapped, her polished facade cracking. Daniel always comes back to me. Always. We understand each other. We move in the same circles, speak the same language. What could you possibly offer him that I can't? Love, Maya said simply. Not his money, not his status, not what he can do for me. Just him. Just Daniel. Victoria stood abruptly. You'll regret this. When he breaks your heart, and he will, don't come crying to me. I won't, Maya said, standing as well. Her voice was calm, certain. Because I finally understand something. You're so convinced Daniel will come back to you because that's all you've ever offered him. Familiarity, convenience, the path of least resistance. But I offer him something you never could. I see him. Not Daniel Morrison, CEO. Not the heir to a tech empire. Just Daniel. The man who misses his mother. Who secretly loves terrible action movies. Who gets this look in his eyes when he's solved a complex problem, like a kid on Christmas morning. Who wants to be loved for who he is, not what he represents. How touching, Victoria said coldly. We'll see how that romantic notion holds up when you're drowning in debt and he's moved on to the next charity case. Get out, Maya said quietly. And Victoria, don't come back. Whatever you and Daniel had, it's over. You need to accept that and move on with your life. Victoria's face twisted with rage, but she turned on her expensive heels and stalked out. Maya sank back into her chair, her hands shaking. But beneath the adrenaline, she felt something else, clarity. Crystal clear, undeniable clarity. She loved Daniel Morrison. Not his money, not his status. Just him. The man who made her laugh, who challenged her, who looked at her like she was the most precious thing in his world. The man who'd been patient with her fears, who'd given her space when she asked for it even though it clearly hurt him. She'd been an idiot. A coward. And she needed to fix this. Now. Maya grabbed her bag and practically ran out of the office. She knew Daniel's schedule by heart now, knew he'd be at his apartment, probably working late like he always did when he was stressed. The drive to his building in Ikoyi felt eternal. What if she was too late? What if she'd pushed him away one too many times and he was done waiting? The security guard at Daniel's building recognized her and waved her through. Maya's heart pounded as she rode the elevator to the penthouse, trying to figure out what she'd say. She rang the doorbell, waited. Nothing. Rang again. Still nothing. Panic started to set in. What if he wasn't home? What if he was out with someone else, finally moving on? The door swung open. Daniel stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, his hair messy, eyes red-rimmed like he hadn't been sleeping well. He looked surprised to see her, then guarded. Maya, it's late. I know. I'm sorry. Can I come in? He hesitated, and Maya's heart broke a little more. But then he stepped aside, letting her enter. His apartment was a mess, so unlike the immaculate space she remembered. Empty coffee cups littered the coffee table. Papers were scattered across the couch. It looked like he'd been working himself to death. Daniel, she started. If you're here to tell me you need more space, just save it, he interrupted, his voice tired. I get it, Maya. I pushed too hard, too fast. I scared you off with talk of love and commitment. I should have known better. You didn't scare me off, Maya said. I scared myself off. And I came here to tell you that I'm done being scared. Daniel went very still. What? I love you, Maya said, the words tumbling out. I love you, and I've been an idiot. You were right. I was looking for reasons to doubt us because I was terrified. Terrified that someone like you couldn't really love someone like me. Terrified that this was too good to be true. Terrified that if I let myself believe in us, I'd get my heart shattered. Maya, let me finish, she interrupted. Victoria came to my office tonight. She offered me 5 million naira to leave you alone. And you know what I realized? She's scared too. She's terrified because she knows what we have is real. Everyone can see it except apparently me, and I've been too busy protecting myself to notice. She moved closer to him, her eyes bright with tears. I don't care that you have money and I don't. I don't care that we come from different worlds. I don't care what anyone thinks or says. I care about you. About the man who takes me to hole-in-the-wall suya spots and makes me laugh until my stomach hurts. The man who listens when I talk about design like it actually matters. The man who looks at me like I'm extraordinary when I feel completely ordinary. You are extraordinary, Daniel said roughly. Maya, you've been extraordinary since the moment I met you. I love you, she said again, her voice breaking. I love you so much it terrifies me. But I'm done running from it. I'm done letting fear make my decisions. So I'm here, laying my heart on the line the way you did, and I'm asking, no, I'm begging. Please tell me I haven't destroyed this. Tell me there's still a chance for us. For a long moment, Daniel just stared at her. Then, in 2 strides, he crossed the distance between them and pulled her into his arms. You infuriating, beautiful, impossible woman, he murmured against her hair. Of course there's still a chance. There was always a chance. Maya, I told you I'd wait, and I meant it. I would have waited forever. You don't have to wait anymore, Maya said, tilting her face up to his. I'm all in. Completely, terrifyingly all in. Daniel's mouth came down on hers in a kiss that was equal parts relief, love, and hunger. Maya melted into him, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer, trying to convey without words everything she felt. I love you, Daniel said between kisses. God, Maya, I love you so much. These past weeks have been torture. I'm sorry, Maya gasped as his mouth moved to her neck. I'm so sorry I put us through that. No more apologies, Daniel said, lifting her into his arms. No more doubts. No more letting other people's opinions matter more than what we feel. Agreed. Agreed. Maya breathed as he carried her toward the bedroom. They made love with an intensity that stole her breath, not just physically, but emotionally. Every touch was a promise, every kiss a declaration. This wasn't just desire, it was connection, commitment, 2 people finally allowing themselves to be completely vulnerable with each other. Afterwards, they lay tangled together in Daniel's massive bed, Maya's head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. So what happens now? She asked softly. Now we figure it out together, Daniel said, his fingers trailing up and down her spine. We go public with our relationship. We deal with whatever gossip comes our way. We build something real. People are going to talk, Maya warned. Let them. Maya, I've spent my whole life worried about what people think. About living up to my father's legacy. About maintaining the perfect public image. I'm done with that. I'd rather have a real, messy, imperfect life with you than a perfect, hollow life with anyone else. Maya propped herself up on her elbow, looking down at him. Your board of directors. Don't get a vote in my personal life, Daniel finished firmly. Morrison Tech is mine. I built it into what it is today, and if they have a problem with who I'm dating, they can find another CEO. You'd risk your company for me? Maya asked, her voice small. In a heartbeat, Daniel said without hesitation. But I don't think it'll come to that. Once people see your work, see what you've accomplished with the rebrand, they'll understand. And if they don't, that's their problem, not ours. Maya kissed him, slow and deep. I don't deserve you. Yes, you do, Daniel said firmly. You deserve everything good in this world, Maya Thompson. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know that. The rest of your life? Maya teased. Isn't that a little presumptuous? Daniel's expression turned serious. Maya, I know it's too soon. I know we're still figuring this out. But I need you to understand something. This isn't temporary for me. When I say I love you, I mean forever. I mean building a life together. I mean waking up next to you every morning and falling asleep with you every night. I mean meeting your mother and your brother and showing them that my intentions are honorable. I mean someday when you're ready, marriage and a family and all of it. Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. Daniel, I'm not asking for any of that right now, he continued, wiping away her tears. I'm just telling you where my head is, where my heart is, so you know what you're signing up for. Forever sounds terrifying, Maya admitted. Does it also sound kind of perfect? Daniel asked with a small smile. Despite her tears, Maya laughed. Yeah, it kind of does. Going public with their relationship was simultaneously easier and harder than Maya expected. They announced it at the next company-wide meeting, Daniel making it clear that Maya's position was based solely on merit and that their personal relationship in no way affected her professional standing. There were whispers, certainly, some supportive, others skeptical. But Maya held her head high, let her work speak for itself. The rebrand launch was scheduled for 3 months later, and as the date approached, Maya worked harder than she ever had in her life. She was determined to prove that she'd earned her place at Morrison Tech, that this wasn't nepotism or favoritism, but genuine talent. Daniel supported her without smothering her, giving her space to shine while making it clear to everyone that he believed in her abilities. Their relationship deepened. They fell into an easy rhythm of work and life, navigating the complications of dating your boss with remarkable grace. But not everything was smooth sailing. One evening, about 2 months into their public relationship, Maya was at Daniel's apartment when his phone rang. She saw him glance at the screen, his expression darkening. "Who is it?" she asked. "My uncle," Daniel said tightly. "Richard Morrison. He's been difficult since we went public." "Difficult how?" Daniel sighed, running a hand through his hair. "He owns 20% of Morrison Tech, shares my father left him. He's been pushing me to end things with you, saying it's bad for the company image. He's threatened to call for a vote of no confidence with the board." Maya's stomach dropped. "Daniel, you didn't tell me." "Because it doesn't matter," Daniel interrupted. "He's bluffing. He doesn't have the support to actually remove me. But he's been persistent." The phone kept ringing. Finally, Daniel answered, putting it on speaker. "Uncle Richard." "Daniel." The voice that came through was cold, imperious. "I'm calling one last time to give you a chance to reconsider this foolishness. My relationship with Maya isn't foolishness. A relationship with an employee? A girl with no family connections, no social standing? Daniel, you're making the company a laughingstock. The tabloids are having a field day with this Cinderella story. It's undignified." "I don't care about dignity," Daniel said, his jaw tight. "I care about Maya. Then care enough about her to end this before it destroys both your reputations," Richard snapped. "Do you know what people are saying? That she's a gold digger. That she seduced you to get ahead. That Morrison Tech standards have fallen so low we're hiring our CEO's mistresses." Maya flinched at the harsh words, and Daniel saw it. His expression turned thunderous. "Don't," he said, his voice dangerously low. "Don't you dare talk about Maya like that. She's earned everything she has through talent and hard work. And if you can't see that, if you're so blinded by classism and prejudice, then maybe you don't belong on my board." "Your board?" Richard laughed harshly. "Boy, I was on this board when you were still in diapers. Your father would be ashamed of what you've become, throwing away everything he built for some pretty face." "My father," Daniel said coldly, "was a brilliant businessman and a terrible human being. He valued profit over people, status over substance. If he would be ashamed of me for choosing love over legacy, then I'll wear that shame as a badge of honor. You're going to regret this, Daniel. When this girl shows her true colors, when she's bled you dry and moved on to the next mark, don't come crying to me." "Maya isn't going anywhere," Daniel said. "But you are. Consider this your notice. I'm buying out your shares. Name your price." Silence on the other end. "Then, you can't be serious. Completely serious. I won't have you using your stake in my company to try to control my personal life. So name your price, or I'll make you a lowball offer and force the sale. Your choice." More silence. Then Richard named a number, an astronomical amount that made Maya's head spin. "Done," Daniel said without hesitation. "My lawyers will draw up the papers. You'll have your money by end of month, and you'll resign from the board. Do we have a deal?" "You're making a mistake," Richard said, but his voice had lost some of its bite. "The only mistake I made was letting you think you had any say in my life," Daniel replied. "Goodbye, Uncle Richard." He hung up, then tossed the phone onto the couch with more force than necessary. "Daniel," Maya started, her voice shaking. "You can't, that's millions of naira. You can't spend that kind of money just to protect you?" Daniel interrupted, turning to her. To protect us? Yes, I can. And I will. Maya, I meant what I said. I'm done letting other people's opinions dictate how I live my life. But your uncle, you're bored. What if they're right? What if I am bad for your company? You're not, Daniel said firmly, pulling her into his arms. The rebrand numbers are already coming in, Maya. Preliminary surveys show a 93% positive response. Marketing is calling it the most successful rebrand in company history. You've single-handedly shifted Morrison Tech's image from cold and corporate to innovative and accessible. You've made us relevant to a whole new demographic. If anything, you're the best thing that's ever happened to this company. And to you? Maya asked, her voice small. Am I the best thing that's happened to you? The very best, Daniel said, kissing her forehead. The absolute best thing in my entire life. The rebrand launch was a massive success. Media coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Morrison Tech's stock price jumped 15%. Corporate clients flooded in with new contracts. And through it all, Daniel stood beside Maya, making it clear to everyone that she was both his partner in business and in life. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. Some other shoe waiting to drop. Life didn't just work out this perfectly, did it? She found out how right she was 3 weeks after the launch. Maya woke up feeling terrible. Nauseous, exhausted, her whole body aching. She'd attributed it to stress. The launch had been intense, and she'd been working nonstop for months. But when the nausea persisted for a week, when she found herself crying at a commercial for no reason, when her period was 2 weeks late, a terrible suspicion began to form. She bought 3 pregnancy tests on her way home from work, her hands shaking. Locked herself in the bathroom of her shared apartment while Zara was out. All 3 were positive. Maya sank to the bathroom floor, her mind reeling. Pregnant. She was pregnant. With Daniel's baby. They'd been careful, mostly. There had been that one night early on when they'd been too desperate for each other, when precautions had been an afterthought. She'd taken a morning after pill, thought it would be fine. Apparently not. Oh my God, she whispered to the empty bathroom. Oh my God, what was she going to do? They'd been together for 4 months. For months. That was nothing. Barely enough time to figure out if a relationship had staying power, let alone enough to bring a child into. And Daniel, God, what would Daniel think? Would he think she'd done this on purpose? Trapped him. Everyone already thought she was a gold digger. This would just confirm all their worst suspicions. Maya's hands moved to her still flat stomach. A baby. She was going to have a baby. Terror and wonder warred inside her. She'd always wanted children someday, just not now, not like this. But as she sat there on the cold bathroom floor, she felt something else too. A fierce, protective love for this tiny cluster of cells growing inside her. She had to tell Daniel. But not yet. Not until she'd figured out what she wanted, what she was going to do. For the next week, Maya avoided Daniel as much as possible. She claimed she was busy with follow-up work on the rebrand, that she needed to catch up on sleep. He was concerned but gave her space, trusting her when she said she was fine. But Maya was far from fine. She was drowning in indecision, in fear, in the weight of a secret that grew heavier every day. Finally, Zara confronted her. Okay, what's going on? Her roommate demanded, cornering Maya in the kitchen. You've been weird for weeks. Are you and Daniel fighting? Did something happen? I'm pregnant, Maya blurted out and immediately burst into tears. Oh, honey. Zara pulled her into a hug, rubbing her back as Maya sobbed. Okay, it's going to be okay. Does Daniel know? Maya shook her head. Why haven't you told him? Because I'm terrified, Maya admitted through her tears. Zara, we've only been together 4 months. What if he thinks I did this on purpose? What if this destroys everything? Or, Zara said gently, what if he's thrilled? Maya, that man loves you. Anyone with eyes can see it. Yes, this is unexpected and complicated, but you two will figure it out together. You don't know that, Maya said miserably. No, but I know you. And I know you can't keep this from him. He deserves to know, Maya. And you deserve his support. Maya knew Zara was right. But knowing something and doing it were 2 very different things. She finally worked up the courage 3 days later. She invited Daniel over to her apartment, neutral territory, and spent the day cleaning obsessively, trying to calm her nerves. When he arrived, he immediately knew something was wrong. Maya, what's going on? You've been distant all week. If something's wrong, just tell me. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. Maya took a deep breath. I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air between them. Daniel froze, his expression unreadable. You're He couldn't seem to finish the sentence. I'm pregnant, Maya repeated, tears already streaming down her face. I took tests. Multiple tests. They're all positive. I know this isn't what we planned, I know it's too soon, and if you need to, I'll understand if you. If I what? Daniel interrupted, his voice strange. If I run? If I abandon you? Maya, is that really what you think of me? I don't know what to think, Maya admitted. We've only been together 4 months, Daniel. This is huge and terrifying and… She was cut off as Daniel pulled her into his arms, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. A baby, he murmured against her hair. We're having a baby. Maya pulled back enough to see his face, shocked to see tears in his eyes. You're not angry? Angry? Maya, he laughed, the sound watery and overwhelmed. I'm shocked. Terrified. But angry? No. Never angry. This is unexpected, yes, but it's also, God, Maya, we made a life. Together. That's miraculous. But it's too soon, Maya protested even as hope bloomed in her chest. We're not ready. No one's ever ready, Daniel said, cupping her face in his hands. But we'll figure it out. Together. Maya, I love you. I want a future with you. This just means that future is starting a little sooner than we planned. You really mean that? Maya asked, searching his face for any sign of doubt or resentment. I really mean that, Daniel said firmly. He dropped to his knees, his hands moving to her still flat stomach. Hey there, little one. Your mother and I weren't expecting you quite yet, but we're going to do our best by you. We're going to love you so much. Maya's tears fell harder, but they were tears of relief now, of joy. We're really doing this? We're having a baby. Daniel stood, pulling her back into his arms. We're having a baby. And Maya? I know this is probably too soon, and you might not be ready to hear this, but I need to say it anyway. He pulled back, reaching into his pocket. Maya's breath caught as he pulled out a small velvet box. I bought this 2 weeks ago, Daniel admitted. I was planning to wait, to do this properly with a romantic dinner and a speech I'd rehearsed 100 times. But life doesn't always give us perfect timing, does it? He opened the box, revealing a stunning ring, a sapphire surrounded by diamonds. Maya Thompson, I love you more than I thought it was possible to love anyone. You've turned my world upside down in the best possible way. You've made me laugh, made me think, made me want to be better. And now you're giving me the greatest gift I could imagine, a family. So I'm asking, even though the timing is insane and we're both probably terrified, will you marry me? Will you build this crazy, unexpected, beautiful life with me? Maya looked at the ring, then at Daniel's face, hopeful, vulnerable, completely open to her. A week ago, she would have been terrified. Would have seen 100 reasons to say no, to protect herself, to avoid the risk. But standing here, with Daniel's love shining in his eyes and their child growing inside her, Maya felt only one thing, certainty. Yes, she breathed. Yes, I'll marry you. Daniel's whoop of joy made her laugh even as he spun her around, kissing her until they were both breathless. When he finally set her down, he slipped the ring onto her finger with shaking hands. We're engaged, he said, wonder in his voice. We're engaged, Maya confirmed. And having a baby. And having a baby. Daniel laughed, pulling her close. We do everything backwards, don't we? Apparently, Maya said, but she was smiling. Is that okay? It's perfect, Daniel said, his hand moving to rest over hers on her stomach. It's absolutely perfect. They decided to tell their families before making any public announcements. Maya was nervous about telling her mother, not about the engagement, but about the pregnancy. It felt shameful somehow, despite the fact that she was 26 years old and about to marry the baby's father. But her mother surprised her. Oh, Maya, she breathed when Maya and Daniel visited to share the news. A baby. And you're getting married. This is wonderful. You're not disappointed? Maya asked hesitantly. That we did things out of order? Her mother laughed, pulling her into a hug. My dear girl, life rarely happens in order. What matters is that you love each other, that you're committed to each other. The rest is just details. Samuel, Maya's younger brother, was equally enthusiastic, especially when Daniel quietly mentioned he'd be taking care of Samuel's school fees and had connections at several top engineering firms for internships. You don't have to do that, Maya protested later when they were alone. I want to, Daniel said simply. He's family now. And he's brilliant. Your mother showed me his grades. That kind of talent deserves to be nurtured. Maya felt tears prickling her eyes again. Damn pregnancy hormones. I love you, she said fiercely. I love you too, Daniel replied, kissing her softly. Get used to it, because you're stuck with me now. Daniel's family was less enthusiastic. His father was dead, but he had an aunt and several cousins who'd been invited to dinner to meet Maya and hear the news. The evening was tense from the start, his family's polite smiles not quite reaching their eyes as they assessed Maya. So you're a graphic designer, Daniel's Aunt Patricia said over dinner, her tone making it sound like Maya had said she was a refused collector. How creative. Maya is incredibly talented, Daniel said firmly. She spearheaded Morrison Tech's rebrand, which has been massively successful. How convenient that she's dating the CEO. One of his cousins, Marcus muttered. Marcus? Daniel's voice held a warning. What? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Ambitious girl from nowhere suddenly dating one of Lagos's wealthiest men? It's a tale as old as time. Marcus, that's enough, Aunt Patricia said, but her tone was more amused than reproving. Maya felt her face burning, but kept her composure. She'd known this would be difficult, but actually experiencing their disdain was worse than she'd imagined. Actually, Daniel said, his voice cold as ice, Maya and I have an announcement to make. He reached for Maya's hand, and she saw his family's eyes drop to the ring on her finger. We're engaged, Daniel said, and we're having a baby. The silence that followed was deafening. You're what? Aunt Patricia's voice was faint. You heard me. Maya and I are getting married, and we're expecting a child. I hope we have your support, but frankly, we don't need it. I wanted to tell you as a courtesy, but make no mistake. Maya is going to be my wife and the mother of my child. If you can't respect her, you won't be part of our lives. Daniel, be reasonable, Aunt Patricia tried. You barely know this girl. How can you be sure the child is even? Finish that sentence and you'll never see me again, Daniel interrupted, his voice shaking with rage. How dare you imply that Maya would lie about something like this? How dare you disrespect her in front of me? We're just concerned, Marcus said. Come on, Daniel. You have to admit the timing is suspicious. She gets pregnant right after landing a major contract with your company? That doesn't look good. Get out, Daniel said. Daniel. I said get out. Daniel stood, his entire body vibrating with anger. All of you, leave my home. And don't come back until you're ready to apologize to my fiancé. His family left in a flurry of protests and barely concealed outrage. When the door finally closed behind them, Daniel turned to Maya, his expression devastated. I'm so sorry, he said. Maya, I'm so sorry. I knew they'd be difficult, but I never thought. It's okay, Maya said, even though her hands were shaking. Daniel, it's okay. It's not okay, he insisted. You don't deserve to be treated like that, to be questioned and doubted and… Hey! Maya moved to him, taking his face in her hands. Look at me. I know who I am. I know why I'm with you. Their opinions don't matter. The only opinions that matter are yours and mine. I love you, Daniel said fiercely. I love you so much. And I promise you, I will spend the rest of my life making sure you know how valued and cherished you are. I know, Maya said softly. I already know. The media announcement of their engagement and pregnancy came a week later. As expected, it caused a sensation. The headlines ranged from supportive to vicious. Morrison Tech CEO Daniel Morrison announces engagement to company designer Maya Thompson. Modern Cinderella story. Local designer wins heart of Lagos's most eligible bachelor. Gold digger or true love? The controversial romance making headlines. Morrison Tech pregnancy scandal. CEO engaged to employee. Maya tried not to read the comments, but sometimes she couldn't help herself. The internet was divided. Some people celebrated their love story. Others tore Maya apart, calling her every name in the book. Stop reading those, Daniel said one evening, taking her phone away. They don't know you. They don't know us. Why let strangers' opinions hurt you? Because I'm human, Maya admitted. And it's hard to see people say such horrible things about me, about us. I know, Daniel said, pulling her into his arms. But Maya, for every cruel comment, there are 10 supportive ones. People who see what I see, that you're talented, genuine, and deserving of every good thing that comes your way. What if they're right, though? Maya asked quietly. What if I am just some nobody who got lucky? First of all, you're not a nobody. You're Maya Thompson, brilliant designer, loving daughter and sister, my future wife, and the mother of my child. That's pretty damn significant. Daniel tilted her face up to meet his eyes. And second, luck had nothing to do with this. We found each other. We fell in love. We're building a life together. That's not luck, Maya. That's fate. They decided to get married quickly, partly because of the pregnancy, partly because neither of them wanted a long engagement. Daniel would have married her the next day if possible, but Maya insisted on at least a small ceremony with their close friends and family. The wedding took place 3 months after their engagement, in a small chapel overlooking the Lagos Lagoon. Maya was 4 months pregnant, just starting to show, her simple white dress flowing elegantly over her growing bump. Zara was her maid of honor, crying through the entire ceremony. Maya's mother and Samuel sat in the front row, beaming with pride. On Daniel's side, the attendance was sparse, just a few close friends from university and David and Sarah from work. His family had been invited, but declined to attend. Maya tried not to let that hurt, but Daniel saw right through her. "Their loss," he whispered as they stood at the altar. "Everyone who matters is here." "Everyone who matters," Maya agreed. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. When it came time for vows, Daniel took Maya's hands, his eyes bright with emotion. "Maya, when I met you, I was sleepwalking through my life. Going through the motions, doing what was expected, feeling nothing. You woke me up. You showed me what it means to really live, to really feel, to really love. You're my best friend, my partner, my home. And I promise you, I will spend every day of the rest of our lives making sure you know how loved, how valued, how absolutely essential you are to my happiness. I love you. I will always love you." Maya was crying by the time he finished, and her own vows came out shaky. "Daniel, you terrified me. Not because you were scary, but because you made me feel things I'd never let myself feel before. You made me want things I'd convinced myself I didn't deserve. You saw me, really saw me, when I was so used to being invisible. You taught me that it's okay to want more, to reach for happiness, to believe in love. I promise to always be honest with you, to support your dreams while pursuing my own, to build a life with you that's messy and real and full of love. I love you. I will always love you." When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Daniel kissed her with a passion that made the small gathering laugh and cheer. "Mrs. Morrison," he murmured against her lips. "Mrs. Morrison," Maya repeated, testing out the name. "I think I like the sound of that." The reception was held at a small restaurant, the same suya spot where Daniel had taken Maya on their first date. It was perfect, intimate, full of laughter and joy. Daniel gave a toast that had everyone in tears. "I've made a lot of decisions in my life, some good, some bad. But walking up to Maya at that charity gala was the best decision I've ever made. She's made me happier than I ever thought possible, and I can't wait to see what the rest of our lives brings." Maya's mother spoke next, her voice thick with emotion. When Maya was little, she used to draw pictures of her dream life. Always, in these pictures, there was a family, a home full of love and laughter. "I'm so grateful that she's found that with you, Daniel. Take care of my baby girl." "I will," Daniel promised. "Always." As the evening wound down, Maya and Daniel snuck away to the restaurant's small courtyard. The Lagos night surrounded them. Traffic sounds, distant music, the eternal pulse of the city that had brought them together. "So, Mrs. Morrison," Daniel said, pulling her close. "How does it feel to be married?" "It feels right," Maya said, resting her head on his chest. "Scary and exciting and right all at once." "Any regrets?" "Not a single one," Maya said. "You. Only that I didn't find you sooner," Daniel said, his hand moving to rest on her bump. "Though I suppose timing isn't everything. We found each other when we needed each other most. That's what matters. Our baby is going to be so loved," Maya said softly. "So loved," Daniel agreed. "Almost as loved as their mother." They stood there, wrapped in each other's arms as Lagos pulsed around them. Two people from different worlds who'd found each other and refused to let anything, not doubt, not fear, not other people's opinions, keep them apart. It wasn't the story Maya had planned, but it was theirs and it was perfect. Maya Morrison stood in her home office, reviewing designs for her latest client. Through the window, she could see the Lagos skyline glittering in the evening light, a view she'd never quite gotten used to, even after 5 years of living in Daniel's, their penthouse. Mommy, look what I made." Maya turned to find their daughter, Zoe, racing into the room, her wild curls bouncing, clutching a piece of paper covered in crayon drawings. At 4 years old, she was the perfect combination of both her parents, Daniel's storm gray eyes and Maya's warm smile, with a personality that was entirely her own. "That's beautiful, baby," Maya said, lifting Zoe onto her lap to examine the drawing more closely. "Tell me about it." "This is Daddy," Zoe pointed to a tall stick figure. And this is you. And this is me. And this is baby brother. Maya's hand moved unconsciously to her 7-month pregnant belly. Their son, they'd decided to name him Michael, after Daniel's late mother Michelle, would be arriving in 2 months. It's perfect, Maya said, kissing the top of Zoe's head. Should we put it on the fridge? Yes. Zoe scrambled down, racing toward the kitchen. Maya followed more slowly, her hand on her back. This pregnancy was harder than the first. She was older now, busier, chasing after an energetic 4-year-old while running her own design agency. But she wouldn't change it for the world. There's my favorite girls, Daniel's voice came from the doorway. He looked tired. It had been a long day at Morrison Tech, but his face lit up when he saw them. Zoe launched herself at her father with a squeal. Daddy, you're home. I'm home, princess, Daniel said, scooping her up and spinning her around before setting her down. Now go wash your hands for dinner. Grandma is bringing her famous jollof rice. Yay! Zoe ran off, leaving Maya and Daniel alone. Daniel crossed to his wife, pulling her into his arms carefully, mindful of her belly. How are my 3 favorite people? Tired, Maya admitted. Your son has been using my ribs as a punching bag all day. That's my boy, Daniel said proudly, his hand joining hers on her stomach. Strong, just like his mother. Don't encourage him, Maya laughed. How was work? Exhausting. The Singapore expansion is more complicated than we anticipated. But David and Zara are handling it well. He studied her face. You look exhausted. Have you been working all day? I had 3 client calls and a design review, Maya admitted. But it's fine, It's not fine, Daniel interrupted gently. Maya, you're 7 months pregnant. You're supposed to be taking it easy. Says the man who worked until midnight last week, Maya countered. That's different. How is it different? Because I'm not growing a human, Daniel said, then grinned at her expression. Okay, point taken. How about this? We both agree to slow down a bit. For the baby's sake, if not our own. Before Maya could respond, the doorbell rang, followed by Zoe's excited shout. Grandma's here. The next hour was chaos, the good kind. Maya's mother had indeed brought jollof rice, along with plantains and chicken. Samuel was with her, now 21 and in his final year of engineering school, regaling them with stories about his latest project. And then Professor Adebayo said my design was the most innovative he'd seen in 5 years, Samuel said proudly. That's wonderful, Sam, Daniel said warmly. Have you thought more about that internship offer from Morrison Tech? I'm definitely interested, Samuel said. But I've also got an offer from Shell. I'm trying to decide which would be better for my career. Go where your passion leads you, Daniel advised. Don't make decisions based on loyalty to me. Make them based on what's best for your future. Maya felt a surge of love for her husband. 5 years, and he still found ways to surprise her with his generosity, his genuine care for her family. After dinner, Maya's mother took Zoe to give her a bath, leaving the adults to clean up. I have something to tell you, Samuel said once they were alone in the kitchen. I've been seeing someone. It's getting serious. Sam, that's wonderful, Maya exclaimed. Who is she? When do we get to meet her? Her name is Ada. She's in my engineering program. And, you'll meet her next week. She's coming to dinner. He paused, looking nervous. I wanted to tell you first because, well, her family is kind of like Daniel's family. Old money, lots of expectations. I'm worried they won't think I'm good enough for her. Maya and Daniel exchanged glances. Sam, Daniel said seriously. Let me tell you something I wish someone had told me years ago. The only people whose opinions matter are yours and Ada's. If you love each other, if you're good to each other, that's enough. Everything else is just noise. But what if her family? Then they're idiots, Maya interrupted firmly. Samuel, you're brilliant, kind, hardworking, and any family would be lucky to have you. Don't ever let anyone make you feel less than you are. Samuel's eyes were suspiciously bright. Thanks, guys. Really? That's what family is for, Daniel said, clapping him on the shoulder. Later that night, after everyone had gone home and Zoe was asleep, Maya and Daniel lay in bed together. Maya's head rested on Daniel's chest, his hand tracing lazy circles on her belly. Do you ever think about that night? Maya asked softly. The night we met? All the time, Daniel admitted. Sometimes I still can't believe you actually showed up. That you took a chance on me. You took a chance on me too, Maya reminded him. Best gamble I ever made. Daniel pressed a kiss to her forehead. Maya, do you have any regrets? About how everything happened? The judgment we faced, the struggles with my family? Maya was quiet for a moment, thinking. It hadn't all been easy, those first few years especially. There had been articles, gossip, Daniel's family's continued disapproval. Some of them still refused to acknowledge Maya or their granddaughter. But there had also been so much joy. Building her design agency from the ground up. Watching Zoe take her first steps. The quiet mornings when it was just the three of them, soon to be four, having breakfast together. The way Daniel still looked at her like she was the most precious thing in his world. No regrets, she said finally. It was hard, yes. But Daniel, look at what we built. We have a beautiful daughter, another baby on the way, careers we love, a family we chose. How could I regret any of that? We did build something pretty amazing, didn't we? Daniel said, wonder in his voice. We did, Maya agreed. Then she gasped as a particularly strong kick hit her ribs. Although your son is currently building a fortress in my ribcage. Daniel laughed, moving his hand to where she'd indicated. Sorry, buddy, but you need to give your mom a break. As if in response, another kick came, softer this time. I think he's saying no, Maya said wryly. Stubborn, just like both his parents. Daniel shifted so he could kiss her properly. I love you, Maya Morrison. Thank you for taking that chance 5 years ago. Thank you for not giving up on us when it would have been so much easier. Thank you for giving me this life. I love you too, Maya whispered. Thank you for seeing me. For choosing me. For making me believe I deserve to be chosen. Always, Daniel promised. Always and forever. 3 months later. The hospital room was chaos. Maya was exhausted, sweaty, and had just screamed at Daniel that this was all his fault, and she was never letting him touch her again. You said that with Zoe too, Daniel reminded her gently, wiping her forehead with a cool cloth. This time I mean it, Maya panted. I swear to God, Daniel, if you ever. Another contraction hit, and she squeezed his hand so hard he was pretty sure she broke something. But he didn't complain. Just breathed with her, murmured encouragement, let her know he was there. Okay, Maya, one more big push, the doctor said. Maya gathered every ounce of strength she had left and pushed. And suddenly, the room was filled with the sound of a baby crying. It's a boy, the doctor announced, lifting the squirming infant. Daniel felt tears streaming down his face as he watched his son, get cleaned up and wrapped in a blanket. The nurse placed him in Maya's arms, and Daniel thought his heart might actually explode from the love flooding through him. Hi, Michael, Maya whispered, tears falling onto the baby's downy hair. We've been waiting for you. He's perfect, Daniel breathed, unable to look away from his wife and son. Maya, he's absolutely perfect. Just like his sister, Maya agreed, then looked up at Daniel with tired but radiant eyes. We make pretty good babies, Morrison. We really do. Daniel kissed her softly. You're amazing. You know that, right? Absolutely amazing. Tell me that again when I haven't just pushed a human out of my body, Maya said, but she was smiling. There was a soft knock at the door, and Zoe burst in, followed by Maya's mother. Is baby brother here? Zoe demanded, trying to climb onto the bed. He's here, Maya said, adjusting so Zoe could see. Meet your baby brother, Michael. Zoe stared at the tiny scrunched-up face with awe. He's so small. You were that small once too, Daniel told her, lifting her carefully so she could see better. Can I hold him? When you're a little bigger, Maya promised. But you can touch his hand very gently. Zoe reached out with one tiny finger, stroking Michael's fist. The baby's fingers instinctively curled around hers, and Zoe gasped with delight. He likes me. Of course he does, Daniel said, his voice thick with emotion. He's your brother. He's going to love you more than anyone. Maya's mother was crying happy tears as she took photos, capturing the moment. Zoe meeting her brother for the first time, Daniel with both his children, Maya exhausted but glowing. My family, Daniel murmured, looking at the four of them. My whole world, right here in this room. Maya sat in the audience at the Nigerian Design Awards, her hands clasped nervously in her lap. Beside her, Daniel squeezed her hand reassuringly. You've got this, he whispered. I didn't even think I'd be nominated, Maya whispered back. There's no way I'll actually win. But when they announced the winner for Designer of the Year, it was her name they called. Maya Morrison, for her innovative work with Morrison Tech and her groundbreaking designs through Maya Morrison Design Agency. Maya sat there in shock until Daniel gently pushed her to her feet. The applause was thunderous as she made her way to the stage on shaky legs. Wow, she started, then laughed at her own eloquence. I'm sorry, I really didn't prepare a speech because I was convinced I wouldn't win. Laughter rippled through the audience. 5 years ago, Maya continued, her voice growing stronger, I was a struggling designer who couldn't get anyone to look at my work. I showed up at a charity gala hoping to make one connection, to get one chance. And I met someone who changed my life, not because he gave me opportunities one didn't earn, but because he believed in me enough to make me believe in myself. She found Daniel in the audience, saw him watching her with undisguised pride and love. This award isn't just mine. It belongs to everyone who took a chance on me. To my mother, who sacrificed everything so I could follow my dreams. To my brother, who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. To my friend Zara, who literally dragged me to that gala. And to my husband Daniel, who saw past where I came from and focused on where I could go. Maya held up the award. This is for every designer from a small neighborhood who's been told they don't have the right connections. This is for every woman who's been called a gold digger for daring to fall in love with someone outside her social class. This is for everyone who's been underestimated. Keep working. Keep believing. Keep showing up. Your chance will come. The standing ovation lasted a full minute. When Maya finally made her way back to her seat, Daniel pulled her into his arms. I'm so proud of you, he murmured against her hair. So incredibly proud. We did this together, Maya reminded him. No, Daniel said firmly. You did this, Maya. Your talent, your hard work, your vision. I just got lucky enough to be along for the ride. That night, after the awards ceremony, after celebrating with friends and family, after checking on both sleeping children, Maya and Daniel stood on their balcony overlooking Lagos. The city sprawled before them, glittering and alive, full of stories and dreams and possibilities. Do you remember the first time we stood here together? Daniel asked, his arms around Maya from behind. The night you brought me home from your office, Maya recalled. When we gave up on the whole staying professional thing. Best decision we ever made, Daniel said, pressing a kiss to her neck. Well, second best. The first was you actually talking to me at that gala. You mean when you were hiding from the crowd and looking miserable? Maya teased. I was waiting for you, Daniel corrected. I just didn't know it yet. Maya turned in his arms, looping hers around his neck. Daniel Morrison, are you getting sentimental in your old age? I prefer to think of it as reflective, Daniel said with dignity, then grinned. But yes, probably. You make me soft, Maya Morrison. Good, Maya said, kissing him. I like you soft. Well, mostly soft. Daniel laughed against her lips. You're terrible. You love it. I love you, Daniel corrected. Everything else is just details. They stood there, wrapped in each other, as Lagos hummed around them. Two people who'd taken a chance on love, on each other, and built something extraordinary. It hadn't been easy. There had been judgment, obstacles, moments where it would have been simpler to walk away. But they'd chosen each other, again and again, through every challenge. And looking at their life now, their children sleeping peacefully inside, their careers thriving, their love deeper than ever, Maya knew without a doubt that it had all been worth it. Every moment of fear, every judgment they'd faced, every obstacle they'd overcome, all of it had led them here, to this moment, to this life they'd built together. What are you thinking about? Daniel asked softly. That one night with a billionaire really did change my life forever, Maya said with a smile. For better or worse? Maya pretended to think about it, earning herself a playful squeeze. Definitely for better, she said, then added more seriously. Daniel, you gave me so much. Not just material things, but confidence, security, love. You made me believe I deserved good things. Maya, Daniel said, his voice rough with emotion. You gave me everything. You gave me a reason to be more than just my father's son, more than just a CEO. You gave me a family, a home, a life worth living. If anyone should be grateful, it's me. How about we're both grateful? Maya suggested. Deal, Daniel agreed, sealing it with a kiss. Above them, the Lagos stars twinkled, indifferent to the love story playing out below. But for Maya and Daniel, those stars had never shone brighter. Their story hadn't been perfect. It had been messy, complicated, full of challenges that tested them at every turn. But it had been real, and it had been theirs. And in the end, that was all that mattered. The end. Thank you for following Maya and Daniel's journey. Their story reminds us that love doesn't always follow the rules. Sometimes the best relationships are the ones that surprise us, challenge us, and make us believe in possibilities we never imagined. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more romantic tales that will make your heart race and restore your faith in love. Drop a comment below telling us your favorite moment from Maya and Daniel's story. Until next time, remember, the right person won't just fit into your life. They'll make you want to build an entirely new one together. Stay romantic, stay hopeful, and never stop believing in love. Kisses.